Welcome everybody to another episode of the Single Mothers Foundation podcast. Today we are talking everything money. Oh, my name is Zanele. Again, let me introduce myself. We're talking everything finance, money. I'm with a lovely lady, Mrs. Nombali Kheswa, right?
Yes,
and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and tell us who she is, her journey, how she got into finance. So over to you, sis.
All right. Thank you so much, Zen, for inviting me to this interview. Is it an interview or more of a discussion?
It's a discussion. It's a chat. Yeah.
Okay. So my name is actually Nombali Kheswa. I prefer using my maiden surname, which is Kheswa Unozulu Mpakazitha, because I'm very proud to be a Kheswa and part of the Kheswa. What is it? Clan?
Yes. How does your husband feel about that?
He's neutral,
okay.
I would say.
All right.
He doesn't really care about that. But yeah, when I'm with Abus Farmer and I'm with Abus Dulo Boshabilao, I use that surname.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, in my career and from even before when I got married, I've never ever changed my surname, actually. I went to Home Affairs the other day and I had lost my ID and they said to me, what's your surname? I'm like, Kheswa, but we can't find Kheswa in the system. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, what is your new surname? I'm like, it's Farmer. So yes, I am Nombali Kheswa as well.
Yeah.
And like many other women, I wear different hats. I would like to say a mother because I do not have kids of my own, but I am raising 3 children.
Wow.
Of my late sister.
Okay.
And I find them to be a blessing.
Wow.
I feel like God has just blessed me with his kids. I always refer to them as my inheritance, the best inheritance ever. I am umamkulu to them because they refer to me as umamkulu. But I'm also a debt counselor by profession.
Oh, okay.
So I studied debt counseling, and after doing debt counseling, I grew a passion for law because debt counseling is another part of law that is more debt-based and finance-based. And that's when I ventured into law and I studied law and I became an attorney. But I wear my financial wellness cap more often than I do the law part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've been in the industry at debt counseling for over 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's more than 10 years that I've been a debt counselor. I love what I do. I love my job. I love teaching people on finances. I hold seminars, webinars. I was also invited by the news because of some articles that I've been writing and that I wrote years ago about the identity theft and how it affects you as a consumer and a credit active consumer. And yeah, that's basically Nombali.
Sure.
But the one cap, I wouldn't say it's a cap, rather. The one thing that I love the most about myself is that I am a God-fearing person. I love God with all my heart. He is the center of my universe. Even today, it's the Sabbath for me. Yes. And yeah, I'm going to be going to church and we're going to be having a nice preaching. Yes. Well, I've been invited to preach as well today. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, in Konziabo Mama today. So I'll be there as well. But yeah, Nombali is a loving person. I believe that I am kind. I try to be kind to the next person because I want people to also show me kindness. I believe the world out there is so unkind, and the best thing that we can do for ourselves is to be kind to ourselves as well. Yeah. Be kind to us before we are even kind to others when we go outside. But yeah, I'm big on kindness, but I'm a strong advocate of financial wellness. Very strong about that.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for that introduction. And you mentioned debt counseling. We always hear myths and stories. No, don't go for debt counseling because you'll never be able to come out of it.
Yeah.
What is debt counseling?
Okay, so debt counseling is a formal debt restructuring process. It's formal in the sense that it is regulated. It's regulated by the NCR, and there's a law that governs the debt counseling industry. Now, there's been a lot of misconceptions, misunderstandings, as well as us debt counselors also not being honest with our clients because we're looking for business. Because if a client goes under debt review, it's business for the debt counselor, which is unfair to the consumer because the main reason, and when we sign a code of conduct, is that we will uphold the fact that we look at the person's financial wellness, financial situation, and try and find solutions for that. And sometimes the person is not really over indebted. It's things that they need to sort out lifestyle choices rather than actually go under debt review. So for such a consumer, it's not good. Okay. Because you still want to be credit active, and now the debt counselor has placed you under debt review, and the law is very strict when it comes to debt review, when it comes to the exit process of it. So it's basically a debt restructuring process where a registered debt counselor, they negotiate on your behalf with your creditors. They try and reduce your monthly installments for you to be able to meet living expenses work. So in a nutshell, that's what it is. But the reason why it becomes bad is that this is someone who is in financial trouble. They are looking for help, but at the same time, they don't understand their rights.
Okay.
You understand? So now you have to explain to them, what are your rights exactly as a consumer that is going under debt review? Do you understand that because I'm going to be restructuring your debt, you cannot incur further debt? And most consumers don't understand that. They think, okay, now I'm paying half the installment, I can breathe, so maybe I can go and take another loan, which becomes detrimental to the whole process. So before, when I started in debt counseling, I started way back, I think 2015, and in 2016, around that time, there's a new law that came in where the NCR said, we don't want people exiting the process anymore because people are withdrawing from debt review, going to apply for more credit, and then come back again under debt review. And then when you have to now negotiate, the person is insolvent. There's nothing to negotiate on. So it makes the situation even worse. So because of that, they decided that we're going to make a new law, and from now on, they cannot withdraw from debt review, or rather they cannot exit the process until they've settled their debt and they are debt-free.
Okay.
Now, what this means for an ordinary South African and a consumer, it means that once you've gone under debt review, you cannot apply for credit. And if it's going to take 5 years, for 5 years, you cannot apply for credit. And life is unpredictable. There's times when you feel like, you know what, I'm financially stable right now, and I want to, apply for a house, and I want to apply for a car. And it becomes a problem now because you are now flagged on the credit bureaus. Now, is it a flag that is bad? I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
All right. I wouldn't say so in a sense that debt review is the responsible choice. It means that you saw that I'm in financial trouble and you went for help. You went seeking for help. Rather than saying, I'm just going to leave it, they'll see, and they just list you and it's defaults and it's judgments. You understand? So it's a responsible listing in that sense. But sometimes it becomes unfair for someone who is not really over indebted. They're just struggling for a couple of months and you feel like, I'm behind with payments on these ones. How do I get back on my feet and get, the hang of things and flow again? And it becomes a problem in that sense because now you are listed and you really weren't over indebted. But because the debt counselor can see that, okay, if I restructure this one's debt, I get 9,000. 9,000 for just sending a proposal. It's a lot of money. You understand? So if I've got 10 clients that are going to pay me this 9K, already I'm sitting on 90,000. So they look at it from the financial perspective of it rather than the well-being of the consumer. And there's also misrepresentation because sometimes the agent that is selling the product to the client would say, we are offering a consolidation. Immediately you hear the word consolidation, you think it's a consolidation loan. And they think they're applying for a loan and these people are going to settle my debt. Only to find out consolidating the debt, not consolidation loan. So the word consolidation is tricky, and they can tell that the client doesn't understand what they're talking about, and then it becomes, so that's why debt review would be a no-go area. You need to find a debt counselor that acts in good faith, and someone who doesn't stand to gain. I like the company that I work for because we only do the advising of the process.
Okay.
We don't onboard the client onto a debt review. So we will tell them straight to good, listen, this is what's going to take place because we don't stand to gain. And then if the client really, we feel like he is over indebted and he really wants to go under debt review, then only we refer them to another company that would assist them with the administration. So there's that gap that we are feeling that I'm going to be honest with you. You are not paying me anything, whether you go under debt review or not, I will not gain anything. So I'm upfront with the client and tell them, listen, this is your situation, how do you sort it out? So it's not for everyone. And that's why there's a lot of misconceptions about it, and it's got that negative name to it.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, because it doesn't have a good name.
No, it doesn't.
And I think the actual concept of it is good. It really is good. And I think when the government or the financial institution brought this on, they had the best interest of the people.
True.
So now let's find someone, because it is a single mothers foundation. And I think one of the key things or the key challenges single mothers find themselves in, it's mostly a one income household. There's a lot happening. People have kids, and finances, they piling up and piling up and piling up, and you get to a situation where, sure, okay. So now, how does one, let's just say now one decides to go that route. How is one able to what's the word? To know the right debt counselor?
Okay. So that's a good question. It's a trick question, but it's a good one. I think the best way to find the right debt counselor is through the NCR.
Okay.
For you to contact the NCR directly and say, listen, I am looking at undergoing this process. Who is reputable in the industry?
Okay.
The longer the debt counselor has been in the industry, probably they are very good at what they do. But the newer ones, they're not as experienced as the older ones, because through experience we get to learn things that are not in paper when you learn the course, and it's things that you have to adjust to, and you work with different banks, and each bank has their own culture. And when you're going to negotiate with a certain bank, it's not going to be the same as that micro lender maybe. You understand? So the best way is to speak to the NCR directly.
Okay.
Because first you want to know if they are registered as a debt counselor.
Okay.
Because sometimes you're going to go to someone, they restructure your debt. I remember we had a client, because I'm in the legal industry and we offer more legal advice. And I was working in the debt department offering debt advice. And these clients are coming through and saying, listen, I applied for a debt review. I've been paying my car for 6 months, but the bank is saying they have not received a cent. And I'm like, it's impossible. Because when you go on the debt review, the money actually goes to a payment distribution agent. These are people that are licensed to handle the money. So the debt counselor doesn't keep the money at all. I only give out a proposal and I give it to the payment distribution agent, another company that handles the debit orders and then pays according to how I propose. Even my fees, I get them from the company. So the client doesn't pay me directly. And the client is like, but I paid to certain account. They said I must pay to this company's account, and it's someone's account.
Sure.
And for 6 months, your car is not paid. Only to find out it's not even a registered debt counselor. It's just someone who offered the service because someone was in financial stress. You are stressed. Sometimes you're not even thinking straight because you just want to get out of the situation that you're facing. And for 6 months, the car wasn't paid. Actually, it was a fraud case rather than, So it's important to speak to the NCR directly, the National Credit Regulator, get them to refer you to a debt counselor that is reputable. If you go online on the NCR website and you say registered debt counselors, there's a portal there where all of debt counselors, all of us are registered there. And if you put in my name, Nombali Kheswa, it's going to show you Nombali registered when, and the number of years that I've been in the industry, where am I based as well, and which company am I operating under, and is it a registered company? And if you can't pick them up, probably it's a debt counselor with the registration that lapsed, so you cannot be using that one because also their registration lapse.
Yes.
They can be registered today.
Yes.
And due to contraventions, they
not registered.
Ends up actually deregistering them.
Yeah, look, I'm actually so glad we're having this conversation. So now, obviously I like TikTok, and there's good information, there's not so good information. And one day I was watching a video where one was saying that they can't get out of debt review. They were done paying and they can't get out.
Okay.
And I think that's another negative that's out there about debt review. Can you give us like why obviously we know that there are companies that are not registered, and that situation we know it. But now you are coming to a reputable company, to a registered debt counselor. How long does it take? What is the process of getting out of debt review? And then after that, now you want to buy a house. How long are you able to then buy a house?
Okay. So that's a good question as well, because it's a simple matter of transferring this client, because we do get some clients where they went under debt review with this company. They've settled their debt, but the debt counselor is no longer registered.
Okay.
On the NCR system, it shows that this is the debt counselor on record. So we cannot just take you from another debt counselor because your mandate is with that debt counselor. Now, you are unable to clear your name because you've settled your debt, but you haven't gotten a clearance certificate. So you can't just remove the process. You still have to go back to the debt counselor to now declare you no longer over indebted. Because when you go under debt review, they declare you formally and legally that you are, in terms of Section 86 of the National Credit Act, over indebted. Now you want the person to be removed from debt review. The debt counselor on record again has to issue a clearance certificate and say, we are removing this person from debt review. Now, what is the reason that that person is still not being able to remove under debt review and they've settled all of their debt? It could be that the debt counselor is no longer registered, the company is no longer operational, and they are still appearing under that old debt counselor. In that case, they can just call the NCR and say, listen, this is the situation I want to clear. The NCR will then advise them to transfer to another debt counselor. How I transfer a client, I go onto the NCR portal, I send them consent from the client that the client wants to come under my profile. Immediately they've transferred, I then issue a clearance certificate, and it's as simple as that. But a lot of people don't know that, and they become so frustrated because they're saying, look for your debt counselor. You don't know where to start. And as a debt counselor, I'm already logged onto the system. So when I go under transfers or transfer request and I punch in the client's ID number, it's going to show me the DC code of the current debt counselor. And I'm able to upload my documents from there and say the client wants to come to me, and I transfer them to my profile, and then we issue a clearance certificate. But that recommendation as well can also come from ENCR.
Yeah, and then so now you are cleared,
and you're now looking for applying. Yes. Apply for debt.
How long?
There's no waiting period. So once you've settled your debt, a clearance certificate is issued. The credit bureaus take 25 business days to update. In most cases, they take less than that because their systems are also linked to the NCR. In most cases where a client says, I was under debt review, and then it's been more than 25 days and I'm still listed, and they think it's debt review, it's not debt review, it's probably an account that's listed on the profile that needs to be removed and updated. Yeah, because you'll sometimes, under rare circumstances, find that the credit bureaus remove the debt review flag, but they didn't update all of the accounts that it's paid up. Now, if it's not updated, it's going to show as a blacklisting for that particular account, but not the debt review flag. So the system now, I feel like it's less flawed than it was back in the day. Back in the day, it was a struggle to get the debt review removed, even though the person has settled debt and the clearance certificate is out. But in the past 2 years, I've noticed that it's been a smooth process. In 5 days, you can get cleared. And when it comes to applying for credit, remember, you've been under debt review for whatever period, and you were paying your debt, so your score is lower than what it should be. So you do have a score because you are paying. But it's lower than had you been paying the normal installment. So now you need to build your credit score again. So you can't just jump and go for an asset and you're saying, I want to buy a house, you know. I did have one client that actually went for a car and they got the car. Yeah, and it was within like a month of just clearing. So there's no waiting period. As soon as you've done paying your debt and you can see that the debt review is removed, start small, and a clothing account, and then build from there. Yeah, then you are able to apply for credit from there.
And then you said sometimes it's maybe a particular account where you are still blacklisted. Where does one then go to make sure that they're not listed or they are removed? Do they go to that particular
credit
provider or?
It takes long. You can do that, but it takes long. It's better to go directly to the credit bureaus because on average they take 14 days if a query is coming directly from the consumer. So you would call the credit bureau or send them an email, but it's best to call. They take long to answer, but they do answer. You call them, tell them, listen, I've been under debt review. It's clean, but I do see that there's an account that was also under debt review that you haven't removed. I've got the paid up letter. They'll ask you to send it to them and they'll update within 14 days. But their normal period would be 20 business days for them to update.
Okay. Yeah. So debt review is not so bad.
It's not bad. It's bad if you were placed under debt review. You did not understand the process.
Yes, what I'm saying, the good side of it.
Yes.
The proper way of doing this. It's not bad.
It's not bad. I've had clients that have gone under debt review 3 times. I remember there's a client that was placed under debt review last year again. She was under debt review back in the day when I started. She settled all of her debts. Now, if you settle all of your debt and it's only the bond, the home loan that is left, you are able to exit the process.
Okay.
Then she went back because she went to incur debt, and then she felt like, no, I want to come back. And she came back again. And when she came the third time, I was like, lady, what's wrong? She's like, no, Mbali, there's nothing wrong. The nice part that I like about this is someone that says she likes debt review. The nice part that I like about debt review is, one, I'm paying an interest rate of 30%. I know when Mbali, you're going to negotiate for 15% interest. So already I'm going to pay less interest. Like, okay, you're a smart one. And then she's like, and on top of that, I'm going to pay less the installment. And why should I struggle when I know that I can't handle the installment and I know the process and how it works? So it works for someone who really needs it and who understands what they are getting themselves into. Then it becomes something that is a blessing than a curse. It only becomes a curse where it doesn't make sense for you to say, I'm in financial trouble and I restructure your debt and you still want to incur further debt. Then it becomes, okay, it's a curse now because I don't want to be doing this. But yes, there's a very good side to it that counseling has helped millions of people.
And then do you then send someone for like therapy counseling on, okay, how does one not get themselves? Because I mean, I'm asking this because nobody, okay, let me not say nobody. Most people don't go out there and say, you know what, I'm just going to get debt and I like debt, you know. One thing starts and, you know, it builds, and then it gets to a point where, okay. So do you guys send them to someone that says, okay, let's take it back from the beginning. This is how it started. This is what you could have avoided. And going forward, this is how you can do things better.
I would like to say yes, but it's not the case.
Okay.
It's not the case, to be honest. When you onboard a client under debt review, the debt counselor is more looking at the business rather than the well-being of the client.
Okay.
The well-being comes into place when I start now negotiating and I can see that this bank is just being unreasonable. This client really can't afford. And they're asking me and they're taking me from post to pillar and they're saying, no, we're rejecting this proposal. We need to rework. This client can pay more. And I'm really, you know, struggling to get an acceptance from them. Then the debt counselor comes in. But the industry in itself is not just debt restructuring. I'm a debt counselor. So my job is to counsel. And I know when we do the training, they will tell you that if you're going to be sitting with a couple and they are in financial distress, in most cases, they can even go through a divorce because of
finances.
Yes, it's a very important part of our lives. And when you're going into marriage as well, you are under the impression that this guy, he's taking me out, he's, you know, buying everything for me, and he can handle it. And then you marry him and he's in financial distress. And now you're married in commute of property, and what's his is yours now. He's incurred so much debt and you're now caught up in there, you know. And as a debt counselor, my job is to sit in the middle of the couple and try and reach a mutual ground and make them understand that it's not their fault that they are in financial distress. In fact, I wanted us to start with financial wellness, what it is exactly when we start.
I was actually getting there. I think, but the debt counselor just interested me so much. I'm like, if I forget all this information that I want to ask. Yes.
No, I do understand. So that's where financial wellness actually comes into place.
Yes, and we can actually get right into financial wellness. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll also answer your question as well. Because it's important for them to get counseling post-debt counseling, and we don't give that to them. At the beginning of the process, we do try and give them a counseling because they do pay for a consultation fee to come and consult, even when they're not going under debt review. And your job is to counsel them on debt. Ask, how did we get here? So that in future, we don't just get here. We know exactly how to handle our finances. But I'm going to go to financial wellness and what it is exactly, because financial wellness is very dear to my heart. And it's basically that sense of security when we're talking about your finances. It's that feeling that you have enough to be able to meet your living expenses. And it matters because it affects us. It affects us emotionally, spiritually, physically. There's diseases that are linked to financial stresses.
Sure.
And it has been proven that a sensible budget, as well as living within your means, can actually help alleviate these pressures. Now, there are many reasons why people fall into a financial stress and financial debt trap. And one of the main reasons that we've picked up is that people are trying to keep up.
Yeah.
We are trying to keep up with the Joneses. Uzen has a beautiful car. I also want that. She's got a beautiful house, living the life. I also want that. You understand? So it's also societal standards that are saying to us, you need to live a certain lifestyle. At a certain age, you must achieve 1, 2, and 3. You understand? But we must also understand that our pockets are not the same. Our lives are not the same. Our responsibilities are not the same. Uzen has 1 child. I have 3 children. I need to be realistic about that. And if financial wellness requires us to go back and say, am I living according to a standard sempilo yam? Is this the lifestyle that I can afford? Because if you cannot afford that lifestyle, it's not your lifestyle. And you need to be honest with yourself. Before a pandemic, we were saying your income must match your lifestyle. And post the pandemic, because we are living in uncertain times, we are now saying, actually, your lifestyle must be below your income. And I personally live way below the income yam. And I find it very comfortable because I don't have a financial stress at all. It's never something that's an issue. And I always say I thank God because I'm in an industry where imali to me is just a tool to get me from A to B. It's not something that I would say I need to live in according to a certain standard. That's just not me. But let's be realistic. Society puts pressure on us to want to live a certain way. So how we address indaba financial wellness and post-it debt counselling, you are going under debt review and you've undergone this process. Coming out, how do you then handle our finances work? And most of us, we fail because of a culture as well. We grew up in a culture where umama was handling our finances like this.
Yes.
I personally was raised by a single mother, and that's why this podcast is very dear to my heart. And when I found out there's a single mother's foundation, I'm like, no, I have to come.
Yeah.
You know, and I hold it dear to my heart because umama, as a single mom, I learned a lot from her. And how she handled my finances work is how I also handled my finances work. So if my mom failed at handling my finances work, I would have failed. And yes, was she perfect? No. She had my failures work. And because of that, I also had my own failures because the example that I know is that mama bega bala a budget, and then was okay, we know this is how much and how much. So budgeting was one of her strong points. But there were financial decisions that she took where she could have done better. And I think also, again, it goes back to what she taught on how to handle my finances. It's an important thing. I'm actually working on also starting a foundation, by the way, for a financial wellness.
Wow.
And it must start in school. It should be taught in school. There's no subject that teaches us how to handle. We have soccer players that earn big amounts of money at a very young age, and they end up bankrupt, and you're like,
how?
That's a lifetime's worth of imali that you could have been set for life, but you went back to, being the person that was broke and had no money. How do you go back there? It's because we grew up in a culture where there's no money, or if there is money, we don't know how to handle it. And people must be taught on how to handle our finances. If they are not taught, they will never know. So freestyler, and then I'm going to say, oh, so I'm supposed to buy a car.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I should buy a house.
Yeah.
But what are the repercussions, and how big of a responsibility is it to handle a credit agreement? Because it comes with interest, it comes with fees, it comes with installments every month. Sure, the bank is going to tell you qualify, but do you really qualify looking at your lifestyle? Yeah, the bank doesn't look at that. They are in the business of making money. So if you qualify according to their standards of lending a risk, because they want to see how much of a risk are you if we were to borrow you this money. So if financial wellness is, it's the basic or the basis of anyone. Every individual is affected by finance, whether we like it or not. Yes, if you are interactive and you are in the economy, finances will affect you. But to answer your question, no, we do not give them e-counseling post. I do try, but it's a drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
I'm just one person.
Okay.
And not everyone has the best interest of people. I mean, I'm passionate about people. And I will always say, you know what, Mr. Ngobe, I say, you went under debt review and you're done now. What now? What's the next step? I'm also looking at and I'm like, okay, that's a good plan. If you can please, when you apply for that credit, come to me before you sign the contract.
Okay.
Come with that credit agreement and we
Let's
can
have a
go
look at it.
through it.
Okay.
You understand? Because taking up an asset like a car and a house, those are things that last for long. So it's advisable to take them on credit. But there's things that you don't really need to take credit on. For example, you want to go on a holiday, you can budget and save up for the holiday and, try and open up a plan to say, okay, I need to go to New York this year and this is what I'm going to do. But if you're going to spend everything on a credit and you take out a personal loan, the fees that come with the personal loan, I always, when I explain how a personal loan works, because it's a higher interest because it's an unsecured facility. So the creditor guns for more interest on those kind of facilities. Secured facilities would be something that they can repossess, your house, your car, they can repossess. So the interest is less on those ones.
Okay.
Yeah. But on your unsecured facilities, your credit cards, your personal loans, those ones, they charge more interest. And sometimes it's even double the interest that you would pay even on a bond. If a creditor says to you, you're gonna be charged the 30% interest for a loan of 100,000 over a period of 3 years. In loan 100,000, they take 30% of that per annum, which is 30,000. And over a period of 3 years, that's 90,000. So it's basically double the amount that you took. So the best way to know how much you owe the creditor, if I took 200,000, I owe them 400,000.
Yeah.
It's double the amount. And that's the best way. Now, you look at the 200,000 that you now owe them, besides what you took from them. If you're a person that's earning your low 2,000 per annum, it means for a year you worked for a credit provider and despite some expenses work, because during that year you had to travel to go to work. You had to eat, you've got a family to feed, you're a single mother, you've got children that you need to take care of. Ama school fees are glindi, lama bills are waiting for you. So really think, Uguti, the repercussions of me taking this loan, how dire are the consequences, and try and find other ways. There are ways around the credit, and the best one is to settle as quickly as possible.
Okay.
A bond of 20 years doesn't have to be settled in 20 years.
20 years.
You just need to set up a plan and say, okay, I've got a bond, I need to pay in 20 years. I can settle in 5 years. How do I do it? And you come up with the plan. Okay, I'm going to pay maybe 2,000 extra for now because it's all I can afford. But when my bonus comes, I'm going to put that whole bonus into, or I'm going to invest below Malileo so that it comes back with interest and I can start working bondiam off. But it has been proven that working off your debt faster, that's the best way to make sure that you don't pay so much interest.
Yeah. Okay. So I want us to talk to a child that's just come out of varsity. They're starting to work because obviously, as much as now, 18 as badala, we've got lots of problems. I think the majority of us need to come to you so we can be like, okay, we are here now, and it would probably take the long day for that.
Yes.
But I'm really grateful that there is a healthy way of doing debt review. There's a healthy way of paying back finances. And what I like is the fact that you say some people you will look at and say, no, you don't need to go under debt review.
No.
And but I want us to talk to a student who's now starting work in January. They've secured a contract, they're starting work, right? They come from a home where obviously things were not smooth. They obviously need to look at taking care of home. They've got younger siblings because that's how most people have gotten into debt. And it doesn't have to be. They've got younger siblings that they need to get. They're going to be getting 20,000. Family at home is expecting, now we are sebenza, so we're going to make it through you. And then that now they've got their own, they're staying in Joburg. Joburg is expensive already, They're going to be earning 20,000-30,000. Can we talk to that student on, okay, because number one, what's coming to my head is people pleasing, you're not going to be able to do what your family is expecting you to do. So there's boundaries that need to come into place. But I'm not the expert in the field, so I would like you to just take that student through.
So my first advice would be for them to sit down and look at themselves. What is it that I want to achieve?
Okay.
Why am I here, and what is it that I love? And the ultimate goal, to have the ultimate goal in mind. It's easy to drift because friends are going to tell you, friend, you have to drive a certain car. You have to be living in a certain neighborhood. The pressures are going to come. But it's important for you to look at yourself and be honest with yourself. This is my background. I cannot compare with anyone. There's only one Zen in this world, and you are unique, and it's only you. And your life should also be like that, and it should reflect that. And I would say, do not look at the system that we are born into, which is the system of this world, that we have to work in 9 to 5, we have to come home tired and then sleep, and then it's a never-ending story. You understand? Look at yourself and ask yourself what it is. What is that fire that is inside of me that I really want to achieve? And have a clear plan and a clear goal and move in that direction. Having money and the bank saying you qualify doesn't necessarily mean that you do qualify. There are always repercussions to our decisions that we take. Every decision that we make, no matter how small they are, they have consequences at the end. When I give advice on budgeting, I always say it's important to create a contingency plan, a safety net, because a lot of people will say, you know what, I went out of home, I got this car, I got this house, and life was good, and then I lost the job. You must consider, we're living in an economy where it's not guaranteed we will always be employed. What happens then? We need to prepare for that. So be well prepared. You're coming out of school. There's no rush. Life is a marathon. There's no rush. Don't rush. If you're going to buy a house, buy the house and stick to the house first. See how you handle the house before you move over to the car. If you're going to buy a car, by all means, stick to the car. See how far that pushes you, and how you can handle that before you move over to that. But there's no rush. Society puts pressure on us because I see someone traveling and going international. I need to go international as well. No, you don't need to. You understand? What is your life like? You know, do you have siblings that you would rather take them to school and have them have a better life rather than going out? Sometimes funniness is niche because our parents also sacrificed for us, and life is a sacrifice. At some point, all of us, we have to sacrifice. Going to school is a sacrifice. We want to have fun. We don't want to be studying the whole time, but it's a sacrifice that we have to make. Now, you can't work so hard and then work for your money very hard and then let those cents just slip out of your pockets anyhow. So you want to look at your financial well-being as well. Look out for yourself. But for umuntu ophuma varsity, take it one step at a time. Handle my finances like they say budget like a boss. How I say is that for people that go to church, they understand the tithing system and they tithe. Now, I always say, after you've taken out the 10% of your tithe, take out 10% of your income again and put it aside. Okay. That's your contingency plan. Okay. That's your safety net should an emergency arrive. And when you look back on the month, there's always something that comes up. And you're like, I didn't budget for this. And how did I handle it? You understand? It means other expenses are being affected because of that emergency. So it's important to budget from at least 90% of your salary. If you're earning a salary of 20K, put 2,000 Rand aside. You don't touch it. That's your savings. A lot of people fail to save because they think savings come last. That's actually a very important and vital part of our finances, where your savings actually must come first. Yes. So 10%, the least. Save 10%, put it aside, and then work out your budget on the 90%. Now, from the 90%, tell yourself, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. You start by separating the 90% into two main categories: your essential expenses, things that you absolutely cannot live without, your groceries, your transport to get to work and whatnot. And then the other sort of category, put your non-essential expenses. These are things that I can live without, and that's where you'll be able to go back to your budget and say, okay, I'm expending a lot of money on entertainment. How much money you spend on entertainment is very important. It's nice to go out and do things, but it's also nice to know how much you're spending on that, because it gives you a clear understanding and a vision of, okay, maybe I need to cut back on this. A lot of people that I've placed under debt review were people that were paying a full bouquet of a DSTV. I think it's 1,000 odd, and they didn't have even 1 rand for a savings. Like, if you're paying a full bouquet, we're not saying don't entertain yourself. Abantwana bayithanda DSTV a lot. We are saying if you can downgrade and pay the one for 500 and rather have 500 saved up for a rainy day, or just lying there, at the end of the day you'll decide what you want to do with it. Have it there, because it becomes a problem where umntwana is calling, they want something, and that 500 rand could have actually come through. Now I'm applying for credit, and then the credit is going to come with interest, or I'm going to have to depend on the credit card, live from, creditor to creditor. So look at that as well and be honest with yourself. The life that I'm living, is it the life that Zen really wants? Sure. Is it the life that Zen was really meant for? And I like people who are of God, children of God, because then we are able to come and say, Father, I'm living a certain life. Is this the life that you wanted for me? Is this the life that you really, or am I going ngihamba nomoya? I'm keeping up with Ama Joneses because I'm really stressed, and I feel like I'm paying this one and then my bills. Is this the purpose that you had for me? And I promise you, God will be honest with you. God will reveal himself to you and will tell you, Guti, this is the life that I actually chose for you. I'm sitting here today and I'm working exactly towards the life that God said he wanted for me. But when God spoke to me, I was not listening. I wasn't paying attention. And my consequences are there. And now I'm sort of in a job where I have to work, because now I'm working towards the life that God wants me to move to. And it's a hard, realization, thinking, I could have done this years ago. I'm a simple person. I'm not someone who's extravagant. I don't like isn't this fancy. And why was I buying fancy stuff in the first place? And God is like, I've been telling you, come out of here, my people. Come out of here and be separate. And you did not listen to me. You understand? I called you to live in the country, to live in simplicity, in nature. But you chose the city. You understand? And we need to be honest with Unkulunkulu Masas Kulmanite God. I actually didn't need the Mercedes. Because you can be honest with God.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I didn't need the Mercedes. Why did I buy it? Am I trying to keep up? Who's putting pressure on me? Am I addicted to people praising me and saying, wow, you did well.
Yes.
Wow. But how long does that feeling last?
Sure.
It doesn't last.
Because when you go back to your room at night, you're like, yeah.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you look at even simple things like imoto zetu, imoto is it metal? It's metal and 4 wheels. It's there to get us from point A to point B. Do we really need it to be that expensive as it is in this day and age? You understand? Yeah. And there's people that have cars that are worth millions, but they don't have houses that are worth millions. And a house is a better asset in a sense that it appreciates in value. Imoto, it depreciates in value and very fast.
Yeah.
So am I buying this car to conform to my standards? Because I remember when I studied law and I became an attorney, everyone had now this expectation, attorneys are and the family is looking at you differently. Family meeting, no
decision is taken without you.
You understand? And then I'm like, no, guys, make the decision. No, we're waiting for you. I'm like, guys, I will never change. One thing about me, I will still live simply. I just love simplicity, and I don't like putting pressure on myself. And your standards and what you think I should be as an attorney, that's on you. Nothing to do with me. What does God want from me? If God wants me to have it, by all means, I will have it. If it's something that I love, I want a Ferrari, and I really love a Ferrari, I will buy a Ferrari because of my iPhone. But I don't owe anyone a Ferrari.
Yes.
And you need to understand, Uguti, if I just need to get from A to B, just get a simpler car.
Yeah.
But if you want to live according to our standards, you're going to struggle, because Umhlaba won't be there after praising you.
And they're not coming.
You'll be there.
And in fact, they're the ones that are going to say, une Ferrari but I can afford, yes.
Exactly. And you're drawing attention, because I don't understand people. I just bought a new car it's expensive, and you're saying uzoboleka imali kimi because I'm already paying a car
for the car, yes.
Where am I getting the
and
money?
The insurance also is very high as well.
It's expensive. It's expensive, but when you really look at it, sebenza like any other Renault. So why ngithengele? You know? So we need to also assess that. But if it's something that we love and we feel like, you know what, I was meant for this, I love this life for me, by all means, but don't live it because I'm trying to please other people. Because they won't be there when you have to face the repercussions of and the financial strain that comes with it, because it does come with a lot of financial stress.
Yeah. No, I'm learning so much, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So now, this is going to be the last topic, right?
Okay.
Now you have a woman who got married or was in a relationship. Me and my partner are doing things together financially and whatever. We've got 3 kids or however many kids. Yeah. And things don't work out with and I'm trying to take it back to the single mothers now. Things don't work out with the husband, or things don't work out with the partner, or the husband passes on, or whatever the situation is that lends one to being a single mother. Yeah. And immediately you want to think, ish, because now obviously the contribution, whether it's a divorce. Okay, I'm not going to talk much of divorce because I'm not an expert there. Yeah. It's a breakup. It moves from, okay, we were going half, or whoever has more was, you're right, to somebody who is just taking care of their child. You were living in a nice place. Yes. You were having the life. It was beautiful. And now you are sitting there, you're like, ish, Mara, my kids, you know, this is their home. This is the life they are used to. And already now where you are going through so much, because this is not the life, you didn't expect things to turn that way. But I want us to encourage that mom to say, it's okay to start afresh. Ne? And most of us struggle with that, because you are thinking, oh, but my kids already, the dad is not here. Yeah. I don't want to, I can't, maybe school, I can't compromise. But maybe I can, whatever the situation is. But I want us to just talk to that mom and say, how do you now then go back and start afresh? What tools or what must you look at in your finances to say, I am starting afresh? Okay. And it's okay as well, because then you build up. I've actually got a friend who had a very nice, expensive car. And then one day she woke up, decided, I'm actually going to tell the service provider that I can't afford this car, they must take it. Started from scratch, used her mom's car for a while because she's in an industry that requires her to drive. And then when the time was right, she then went back and she was able to buy a car that she affords. And, you know, so I want us to just encourage people.
Yeah. So this is a powerful one, because we need to be honest with ourselves. I think that's the first thing. We need to assess our situation and do an introspection into the life that we are living. One thing I've learned about children is that ingqondo zabo is like a sponge. Okay. And they are very adaptable, and God created them that way. They adapt so easily, even better than us as, I think, elders. Children, they understand when mom is going through a financial trouble, because they can pick up already, go to, okay, Baba is not here. And then mama keeps saying, you don't have this, she doesn't have. Okay, maybe, honestly, aganai, you know, and you'll even hear them saying, you'll hear them say that, you know. So children, they adjust very easily. I would like to say it's okay to adjust. Adjust as many times as you need to. And until you find the true version of yourself financially, stable, that can do things with ease. Yeah. You haven't really found that person in terms of financial wellness. Find that person. Yeah. And it's okay to live below ama means wako. You know, it's okay to move back home and start afresh and rebrand who you are even as a person. And start over and say, financially, I'm correct. And, I think that's the most powerful version of yourself, when you're actually being honest with yourself and you are willing to adjust, and you don't care what everyone else thinks about you. You need to quiet the noise outside, because it's mostly the noise that's telling you, you know what, you can't. And I know with Abu Mama, especially as women, we don't want to adjust even in a school or something. At times we have to go to mtana simkhiphe kulesa school. And it's the hardest thing. Ne? Will they not receive education? They still will. They will receive education. They'll still be fine. And when the time comes, it's so right, Manja, you want to put them through the school that you prefer, you can always adjust them back. But I've had a lot of moms that say, Umtanam is in a private school and they wouldn't adjust to a government school. I'd like to keep them in the private school, but I really can't afford. And you end up having judgments on your name because you can't afford even the school fees that you're supposed to pay for Umtuan. If you can keep Umtuana in that school, by all means, keep it, because it is an adjustment going through a divorce, a separation, or even if it's an adjustment in terms of, I was working a certain job and they started retrenching and now I'm not earning the same salary that I was earning. It's okay to adjust, and it's okay to go back home, because the people that abakbhekile and you think ukuthi they're gonna say things about you, they forget nje in a month or so bakhohliwe ngawo sebakomunye baya ngama trends right now sikumkhwanazi and asibheka ngokunye, right? So there's a lot of things that are happening around us that, yes, it sometimes feels embarrassing to go back, but that going back, that's when the person is actually reshaped into the better version of themselves. It happens to all of us, I would like to believe, where we need at some point, even if you're wealthy, at some point you just need to adjust and say, am I really living the life? Why am I not happy? And adjust to that, because although things are going well for someone financially, it might be going well in terms of you and your children. And Gomunye, it's going well in terms of your relationship. But we all have struggles. We all meet hurdles in life along the way. And it's not rosy. What you see on the outside is not what you'll necessarily see. Masongena endlin. I can have a beautiful car and only have a tomate one fridge. And I don't know ngizolala ngidleni namhlanje. You understand? But mina ngibheke ukuthi yo umbali uzothini. Umbali une stress sakhe. Akakandaba na une stress umbali. Yes uzokubona lapho nimbonile ubuyele ekhaya after sesikhohliwe. Because i stress something lindile andithi. Angithi. So we need to also, know that it's okay. It's okay to go home. It's okay to start over. It's okay to start over again and again and again until you find that version of yourself that can be financially stable for your children and for yourself. And as a single mother, we are approaching a silly season right now, and people are going to be buying, and it's going to be festive and nice. We must also be realistic. Tokyo January is going to come. And when that month comes and it's a new year, what am I going to write on that year? What are going to be the pages of this new year? Financially, how am I going to start the year? Is it going to be the same struggles of last year, or am I going to choose this year? We can choose to repeat history, or we can choose to make history. Choose the latter.
Sure. Yeah, this was such an interesting conversation. Time went by so quickly. Mbali, if somebody is looking for you and your services and they're like, I actually need to see this lady. How does one find you?
So you can find me through social media. You can email me.
Okay.
I will share information. I think you can share it maybe on the screen when you release the podcast. But you can find me on email. You can also find me on social media.
We'll definitely share your information, because I think, we can learn so much. And I think my take-home messages is, number one, the Bantu Bazotini syndrome doesn't work. Right? You are your own person. You know where you're supposed to be. And I think another thing that touched me is when God said, Mbali, this is not what I said.
It's not.
This is where you must go. And we don't listen. And I mean, me being a Christian person, I'm like, I am touched by that, because I am currently also in a transition where I'm like reviewing things. I'm like, okay, all right, let's do this. Do I need to do my nails? No, I don't. Okay, my hairstyle, let me do a hairstyle that's going to last me for 2 months. And we want to keep up and say, every 2 weeks I must have a new hairstyle. Let me do a hairstyle that's going to last me for 2 months. I'm not going to buy clothes because I've got clothes. you don't have to be wearing the most trending things all the time. Yes, it's nice to spoil yourself.
Yes.
But I think for me, that is my take-home message, and I believe it's going to help a lot of moms out there, guys. So please, if you need to reach Nombali, we'll put her details at the bottom. And thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and please do share this podcast with anybody. And I believe it's not only for single moms, anybody that you feel may benefit from what has been shared. Thank you so much. Till next time. Bye.